Welcome back. We're here. Not for granted. That's a pretty cool play on words, though.
I love it.
Not for granted. K-N-O-T. Like not.
Tie
You
the
tie the
knot.
knot. And
Yeah.
then granted. Grant.
Grant.
I don't think people realize that. Shout out Davis S. for that.
Yes.
Thank you, Davis. Or was that Durango?
They're the brains.
Either way, it was both of Durango Payne, Durango just. It was a collaborative effort, as
Yeah.
you would say. A lot like marriage.
Yes.
Marriage
Good.
is a collaborative. You see how I did that?
I love it.
So, people ask. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about like marriage. And they've been married like 17 years, and they were like, marriage is hard. And I wanted to interrupt and be like, what does that mean? Like, is marriage hard? Is it hard being married to me?
No.
You better come on, tell the truth.
No, I looked away, but then I looked back.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
No, it's not hard to be married.
I'm
I
talking
think
about
there's
to
hard
me.
things to me. It's not hard for me to be married to you.
Oh.
No, there's hard things that come up throughout the marriage, but no, it's not hard to be married to you.
What is hard though? Like,
I
What do
guess
you
it's relative.
no.
You know, what I think is hard, maybe someone thinks is easy.
Yeah.
Or what I think is easy, maybe someone really struggles with.
So then, like, that's kind of my point. Like, then is it really hard, or is it just the way you're looking at it? Because if it was hard, that one thing would be hard for every marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's not, it's really based like on our own individual perspective. So marriage isn't hard until we assign that it's hard,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
So like I look at it and say, I don't ever say anything's hard. It just takes more discipline. It just takes more intentionality. It takes more effort. That's what hard is, just comprised of those things.
Yeah.
If it's easy, it's the opposite of those things. I don't have to be intentional. I don't have to put any effort into it. You don't want that anyway, right? I think a lot of times with marriage, people fail to realize this is the union of the masculine and feminine, and that's going to take discipline. It's going to take effort. It's going to take. So it's not that it's hard. It just takes more energy to make it work.
Right. And are you willing to put in the energy, or are you not,
Yeah.
basically?
We've been married going on, 12 years. What to you has been the hardest? Can you say? I mean, I don't know if it's a time. I don't know if it's the hardest part of it.
Sure. I think, when you traveled, that was hard.
Yeah.
You were gone 8 months out of the year. That
Yeah.
was hard. Our son, who is 10 now, was, you were home for his birth, and then you left to go on the U.S. tour when he was like 4 months,
Yeah.
3 months.
4 months, yeah.
So that's, and he didn't sleep through the night till he was a solid 6 months.
I remember you used to call me. You'd call me crying, and I'm in a hotel, right? I got this big, huge plush bed. I'm by myself.
And I knew that.
And I used to be like, why is she calling me right now? She's calling me to hear him cry, but I can't do anything because I'm 2,000 miles away.
Yeah.
But I realized what you were doing. That was really your way of saying, like,
Or it was just this emotional support.
you're right.
Like, which I feel like actually, even though you weren't physically there, I didn't feel like I was alone in like
Yeah.
that period. It was hard. It would have been hard if you were home, but that newborn time is a struggle. And any new parent knows that the sleep deprivation is real. And then when you're by yourself, I mean, my appreciation for single moms grew substantially when you went on the road.
That's one thing they don't tell you before you're a parent. They don't.
They do. They tell you.
No,
You just
no.
don't really fully comprehend.
They
'cause you-
don't. No. They tell you you're going to miss out on sleep. They don't tell you you're not going to sleep and you will never get that sleep back. Ever.
No.
I'm still in sleep debt from 10 years ago. Still. I still am owed some sleep from back when our children were little. I
Yeah.
never forget Leroy Peterson. Shout out to Leroy. He called me one day, and I told him that we were expecting our first child. And he called. I never forget. I was at LA Fitness in the gym. I was getting ready to sign in. I was about to go in, and he says, "I don't know what you're doing right now, but whatever you're doing, stop it and go home and take a nap." I'm like,
Seriously.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're going to need that sleep. I know you don't know what I'm talking about right now, but you're not going to sleep. And I remember thinking like, okay, all right. It's real.
It's real. I can remember I was nursing. Hudson was like a couple weeks old. This is hard. This is like really, the sleep deprivation, honestly, those newborn phases of Hudson and Ruby, I can say personally for our marriage, those were probably the hardest years. So, I mean, of our marriage.
Sure.
Because we require a solid 8 hours of sleep.
Used
Naturally.
to. Yeah, used to.
I mean, and we probably get that now.
You do.
I do. I require my rest.
She does.
And I can remember Hudson was like 2 weeks old. The pediatrician, we don't know if he was getting enough milk or whatever. So, you're worried about all these things. You're calling your doctor constantly. You're Googling things constantly. You're trying to get all these answers. And she said, okay, well, what you're going to do is you're going to undress him to change his diaper and don't let him get cozy again when you start to nurse him. So we had this team. And because Derek was going to leave and he knew he was going to leave, instead of like dividing our time, we both were up 24/7.
So we both sleepy. No,
yeah, none of us are. Neither
no
one of
reason.
us are sleeping.
One of us don't even need to be up.
No, and so we're just tag teaming it constantly. And so Derek he would take off his sleeper, he would change his diaper, then he would hand him to me. Then he would sit and watch me cry while I nursed Hudson.
That was just the emotional support that I was willing to provide of being awake when I didn't even have to be awake.
Right.
That's just how much I loved you and that little boy.
Right. And I felt that. I felt it, but that still didn't keep me from the psychological hold that was on me during the sleep deprivation. I can remember looking at you and crying, and I think you were probably near tears as well. And I was trying to yawn. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was trying to yawn, and I told you, look at me, look, I can't even yawn. I can't even yawn.
So what happens if you don't have children, though? Because marriage, I mean, there's a lot of people who are married.
Yeah, they don't have children.
They don't have children, but like there's still struggle. Here's what I found. I think I found with us being able to have your time to yourself is everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm going to Vegas for the weekend. I don't need anybody around because I'm gonna go out here and do what I got to do. But like you having your intentional time of making that space for yourself, I've noticed with you how more fulfilled, how more well-rounded, how much happier you are because you do take that time.
And it doesn't have to be outside of.
No, right.
Like, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it is. Sometimes like I don't even like to use the word self-care because I feel like it's been deemed as like an extra when it's not. It's just living your life the way you should. I don't even think it needs to be spending money, going out to do something. I think it's just
like taking time to go upstairs.
Unbothered time, right?
Yeah.
Just be by yourself and.
Yeah. That's why when I recognized that, that's why I always tell the kids, leave your mom alone. Get out of there. Leave them alone.
Yeah, because they'll start to.
You're a magnet. You are a kid magnet. Kids, our kids specifically are literally like.
What is that?
You're like catnip.
I'll be in the bathroom.
You're catnip for a kid.
I'll be in the bathroom. The kids will be downstairs. You will be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
They will run up the stairs. Mom, I need a snack.
It's almost like you.
Well, where's your dad? He's in the kitchen. Okay.
I don't
ask
know
him
why.
for a snack. Why are you asking me?
Well, I do know why. I know why. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to hear this?
Maybe.
Here's why. Because the kids, I put boundaries with them. They know you don't have access to me whenever you want.
I mean.
So they know. Oh well with you, you're the buffet. They can go up there whenever they want. They ain't gotta wait for the waiter.
Yeah.
I'm like the kid. I'm like the chef at the restaurant. You can only go through the waiter. You cannot just walk back in the kitchen. But you sometimes are like the buffet guy at who's cutting up the pot roast. You want a piece? You want okay. Boundaries, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, I agree.
I think
with that.
you know. I think it is though. I think because your mom.
I think it's yeah.
Children will naturally gravitate towards their mother
right.
with her. So And you're a sweet mom, so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, so I don't know. I think that for people who don't have kids, I think it's the little things that add up to be the big things over time. From seeing other marriages and dealing with our own stuff that we have aside from our kids, who we love and adore, even though we're talking about our sleep deprivation. I literally wouldn't change a second of how it all went. But I think it's just the little things. I remember we went to marriage counseling before we actually got married.
Oh, that was.
But we were told to fill out the 5 things that irritate you about the other person, and you're supposed to go home, fill it out, and bring it back, and you weren't allowed to discuss it because we were living together at the time.
Oh, it's gonna get good. Y'all get ready because it's gonna get good.
And we really didn't talk about it. We did not discuss it at home. We took it very serious. Yeah. And we went back in, and I was so curious, like, oh, what is Derek gonna say, And our number one thing for me and for him, mine was Derek likes the house way too hot. He is constantly turning the air down.
I've always been cold-blooded.
And I'm sweating profusely. So he goes through and lists my 5. Then he gets to Derek's. And his number one thing was,
I don't remember.
Carly likes the house too cold.
Oh, yeah.
She's always turning the air up.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that really irks me. Like, I am hot and I'm trying to get ready, or
that would it wasn't arguments, but that would ruffle up our feathers when someone would touch the thermostat up or down when we first.
Yes.
As crazy as that sounds.
But it's not, because those little things, I feel like they start to, over time, and if there's enough of them and you're not talking about it and you can't laugh about it and you can't say like, okay, 73 seems hot to me. Yeah. But my 67 seemed a little chilly for you. Let's meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's
life. Over time we did.
Yeah.
But
that sums up marriage right there. Yeah. You come into it, one's hot and one's cold, and it's about not looking at one, the hot is better or the cold is better. It's about finding the balance. That's what we were all supposed to do. That was the masculine and the feminine harmonizing and finding that, as Buddhism called, the middle way. But the reason why I was laughing, I thought you were going to say something.
I know what you were thinking.
I know what you were thinking. I was
trying
thinking. Well, we're here now. Okay. So what was the question they asked? They asked, like, what do you love most about your partner?
Yeah. And he was like, it could be physical things. It can be.
And I was honest.
He was honest.
I was brutally honest. Not brutally, but like, and now that I look back on it, the level of awareness that I'm at now, I remember thinking, why is the pastor who married us, why does he have this reaction? Why does he not think this is like funny? Like, why does he?
Yeah, there's no.
The question was.
That was my face. I just felt my face get hot and like, I want to get out of here.
The question, and I was dead serious. I was like, I didn't know. I'm like, I gotta be honest. As a pastor, what am I gonna lie to him? I can't lie to him. Like, we gonna get married. I can't lie. So I just told him. They said the question was, what do you love most about your partner? And I was honest. I said her butt. And I remember we're sitting in the office, and then he just looked at us, and he was just like.
And he read it. He read it.
He read it out loud, right?
He wrote it.
And you didn't know that I wrote it. And I was like this. I was like, yeah.
I was like, I can't believe he wrote that. He's going to read it. Why is. And then do you remember what he said at our wedding?
No.
Okay, so at our wedding, he's like, does a little talk before he starts to like, we do our vows or whatever. And he talks about his time with us that he spent with us and stuff. And
I don't remember this.
He's like, and, I can assure you, and he's talking to, everybody at our wedding.
200-something people.
Yeah, I can assure you that Derek loves Carly from the top of her head to her toes. I was like, getting hot again. Like, please don't say it. Please don't.
Boy. But that was, I didn't know how to, like, I loved you.
Yeah.
And that was how I expressed how I loved you, like, by being like, no.
I know, and you still talk about that.
I still do, yeah. I still feel the same way. But
no, I mean, like, you still talk about telling him that.
Oh, yeah,
and us, like, talking about that at our
Yeah. I really think that, like, with marriage, I don't think marriage is as complicated as what we've been programmed to think it is. I really don't. I think marriage is just, it's just a metaphor for life. You know what I mean? Like, we have parts of us, like I have parts of me individually that I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to like reconcile. I'm trying to heal. You have those same parts within you. You are your own individual unit. I'm my own individual unit. We can't become one if your one isn't working and my one isn't working. So like I look at marriage as like, it's like it seems like it's two separate things. Sorry, it seems like it's one thing, but it's actually two separate things. And if each partner focuses on fixing and working on themselves individually in the way that they see best for themselves, like the marriage has to work. It has to.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I balance out the left and I balance out the right, well, of course, when they get together, it's going to be balanced. Because within the right, it had its own left and right. Within the feminine, there was a masculine and feminine within that. So this is where I always tell people, like, as with everything, like marriage is just an energy. It's about harmonizing the energies within you. And I say energies, I mean emotions. It's about you regulating and figuring out who you are. If you do that individually and I do that individually, from a non-egoic place, our marriage has to work. And if you've noticed over the last couple of years what our marriage has turned into, and it's because you've been given permission to go on your journey to figure out who you are and reconcile yourself and go to therapy and do all these things. And as I've done the same thing in my own way, and now it's like, this isn't marriage, this is like, there's no words for it. It's like, I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? It's beyond that. It's beyond
Like bliss.
bliss. Yeah, like we're just
Not that we don't have our.
we don't argue though.
No.
We don't argue, and that's the other thing I was going to touch on. Like, you don't have to
We have
argue.
disagreements.
But here's what I will say: we disagree, but we always take time to figure out and understand the other person's perspective. I don't think we're supposed to agree on everything. I don't.
Sure.
But we're always supposed to at least understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So I remember you would tell me things, because you were a little more sensitive than I was, and you'd say things and I'd be like, well, it's her problem. That's not what I was saying. Instead of just saying like, oh, I could see why she would see it that way. I don't have to agree with you, but I at least see where you're coming from. And that's what we call empathy. And I think that's what is like the backbone of every relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there may be a situation where you never fully comprehend and you're trying your hardest to like, I still don't get it. Why are they upset about this? Or why is he? Why is she? But it's taking a step back and allowing yourself to say, yeah, I don't get it. That's okay. Obviously, I love them and I'm willing to say like, I don't get it, but I'm not going to take away from what you're feeling. I'm not going to push my agenda or push how I feel onto you just because I maybe don't understand.
Yeah. That's one thing I will say, because we don't argue. We always can talk our way through everything. Because I think now at the backbone of it, the foundation of it, we genuinely want to see what we can do better so they don't feel that way. Like, but you can only get to that point when you've done enough work on yourself to be aware of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Like, you got to do your work on yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I believe why people date people. Because every time you date someone or you marry somebody, all they are is bringing up all the unhealed parts of yourself. Well, the more people you date, the more you see, like, oh, I got this hole, this hole. So now you know what you need to work on. So then hopefully by the time you do get married, you're at least aware enough of yourself that it's not every single day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
You didn't have to agree.
I know I didn't, but I do.
Okay. Well, I guess if you guys have any questions, or if you want to find out more, leave it in the comments. Let us know. Because we do not take this for granted.
That's good.
Until next time, make sure you share this with at least 5 of your friends who are married that need to hear this. Because look, we're regular people just like you.
Yeah.
We have our ups, we have our downs, we have kids, we're the same. The whole intention of this is to get you to see that, like, life isn't always just, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually based upon how you view it and how you experience the situation based on your perception. So we just wanted to let you guys in to see how two regular human beings are trying to figure out this thing called marriage.
Yeah.
Until next time, be good.